Hi, it's Jemima Mitra here from Soundsphere magazine. Today I will be interviewing Estella Adeyeri from Big Joanie. She is also in a band called Charm Pit, which is her latest band, so definitely check that out. So thank you, Estella, for coming on to do this interview with me.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No worries. My first question is, how are you holding up?
Yeah, I'd say it's been quite like up and down in lockdown and stuff. I think because when it started out, there was still so much that we didn't know about the situation and everything. And like in March, I don't think I was aware of how long things were going to go on for like this. And then obviously we had all the we had George Floyd and all the protests and everything as well. So yeah, it's been it's quite a difficult period to encapsulate, really.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just like quite intense, I suppose. And then now, Big Joanie have just put a single. Well, we're having a single coming out next Friday, I think. Yeah, we just put the preview up yesterday and stuff and announced it. So that's been quite exciting. But yeah, it's like been a real like ebb and flow, I think, during the past couple of months.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like you can't really blame yourself for that at all because none of us really expected it to go on this long. But have you picked up a new hobby during quarantine?
Yeah, I like at the start of lockdown, kind of like just when we knew it was going to get started. One of my friends who works for a music like backline company, whose name I cannot remember. I'll try to think of it after. But they lent me an analog synth to kind of have a go at learning during lockdown. So that was quite new to me. I hadn't really looked at synths before and really understood how they worked or everything. So it was quite interesting, like getting into understanding a bit of like the science behind them and actually learning how to use all the knobs that you see on there and actually like make a decent noise. So that's been quite
like
fun.
synth now, essentially.
Yeah, like still, I feel like there's still a lot to learn, but yeah, it's been quite interesting to get into that. So yeah.
That's pretty cool. What are your biggest musical and lyrical influences?
That's quite interesting, actually. I'd say lyrically, yeah, it's really hard to pick just one, but like musically, I think I'll start with First. I really got into like the Yeah Yeah Yeahs when I was younger. The Yeah Yeah Yeahs, Karen O's, punk band. I think because they just seemed, well, just like very like New York cool.
Yeah.
Also very unique. The live shows always, it's a bit of a spectacle in terms of like the Karen's like clothes and like stage presence and everything, and the way she can go from like singing to like a guttural scream. It seems like very punk, and I love the way Nick Zinner plays guitar as well. So and yeah, it's like quite like in terms of like a band setup, I guess, like just a 3-piece that they make like so much like such a big sound sometimes. So yeah, they're definitely one of my big like musical influences and someone I still come back to a lot today after like all this time. But lyrically, I'm not sure who's my biggest influence, but I know at the moment I really enjoy listening to Mitski. Yeah, and like I think she she just writes really like poignant lyrics that always kind of like capture my attention, and she's just had so many great albums out, and yeah, she can just kind of capture a feeling like really I don't know, really succinctly. So yeah.
Yeah, it's writing's really poignant, I think. It's beautiful, to be honest. Speaking of writing, what is your favourite book and why?
I would say It's a graphic novel, I guess. But I really liked Diary of a Teenage Girl. It's also been made into a film.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just really stuck with me, I guess. Like, I know some of the story is actually quite dark, but just that kind of all the feelings you kind of have wrapped up going through that period of your time and of your life, and the things that you get exposed to as well, and how confusing it can all be and everything. So yeah, I do quite like some graphic novels as well. I don't know. Yeah, I hope that counts.
Yeah, I'm going to count that for you. Do you have a favourite quote or a quote that you keep coming back to or thinking about?
Mine's it's a general quote we have at Girls Rock where we say there's no such thing as a mistake, only surprise notes, because the point of Girls Rock London, which is a music camp I volunteer with and a music charity, it's we focus a lot on getting people into bands and getting people to play music and feel comfortable and confident doing that. And it's not about being perfect or like even like being like the most skilled musician ever. It's all about like the feeling that you get doing that and knowing that it doesn't matter if you've only been playing for a couple of months or whatever, you still deserve to like get on stage and take up space. And like if you come to our camps, you're going to be doing that within a week, you'll be playing a gig. So, and yeah, I think I just know so many people who get caught up in the idea of like, oh, I can't be in a band because I can't play well enough yet, or like if I get up on stage and I play a wrong note, it's like something terrible will happen. And it's just like not the case. So I think it's really good to remember that it's like okay to be imperfect. So that's my favourite quote.
Yeah, I think that's my favourite thing about punk music, because not many, like a lot of the original great punk bands, especially the British ones, they didn't know what they was doing, and they weren't musically like professionally skilled. So if they can do it, anyone can do it, really. So
definitely.
Can you recommend a band or solo artist that you think is criminally underrated at the moment?
It'd probably be London punk band Screaming Toenail. They're a queer decolonial punk band who've just put out a new album. It's called Growth. And yeah, I just think like, I mean, again, I'm looking forward to when we can kind of have live shows in a similar sense, I guess, to how we had them pre-lockdown, because every time I've seen Screaming Toenail live, they've been just incredible. Like their lead vocalist Jacob,
Screaming Toenail.
And like their vocalist Jacob is also like an artist, and they write again like great lyrics, very like poetic, and just this awesome, really cool like punk energy. And like mainly POC punk band as well. So I definitely recommend everyone to check out the Screaming Toenail album Growth.
My next question is, do you have any advice for BIPOC women who are looking to get into bands or go into the music industry?
If they're looking to get into bands, I definitely just say like within the UK context especially, like the internet's really helpful for like finding your people kind of thing. Like that's how Big Joanie got started, and Steph just put out a Facebook post saying, oh, does anyone want to do like join a black feminist punk band with me for this thing called Firsttimers, which is a music festival where like every band on the bill is playing their first ever gig. And that's another thing that's to encourage people who are not so much represented in like punk and alternative music to get into bands and start playing bands, because again, like often just getting past that first gig is like the biggest hurdle. So so if you're in London, look into Firsttimers as well. That's a really great organisation for promoting new bands or like helping new bands to form as well. There's usually a lot of workshops that encourage people to join bands, and they actually facilitate you meeting other people you can play with. And then I think like in general, like as well, like I was saying, online it can be quite useful for kind of tapping into scenes where you are and just finding who's kind of on your wavelength or into the same music and stuff. And there's loads of like, I guess like on Facebook or whatever, if people still use that, like there's loads of groups like POC Punks UK or things like that. I'm not sure that's the exact name, but I've definitely been added to something like that recently. Might be a Europe-wide one. And then for, I guess like once you've actually gone and found your band as well, or formed your band, hit up Decolonise Fest, which is a POC punk festival. It's run by punks of colour, for punks of colour. So there's about 10 of us who kind of organise for that all year round. Steph and Big Joanie's one of the organisers as well. We're always looking to support like new upcoming like POC punk artists and queer artists as well. So yeah, definitely like hit us up there. And I'm not sure what else would be good advice for the industry. I guess just like not compromising who you are or what your sound is just because somebody's maybe said that, oh, you need to do a certain thing or be a certain way in order to like progress in your scene or whatever. Like my favorite artists are the ones who stay true to themselves, and I think people will try to tell you that like you can't, but I don't think that's true. Like I think you can still remain your authentic self, and for me, like there wouldn't really be any point in making music if I wasn't doing it for the right reasons, if I wasn't making what I wanted to make as opposed to, I don't know, what some like music magazine has said is trendy or whatever. So yeah, just like do stay true to yourself, and it can take a long time as well. There's no, you don't have to like try and like rush what you're doing. I know there was some article with a guy from Spotify this week who was like, oh, artists should be making like, they can't just, it was something like artists can't release an album only every 3 to 4 years anymore, something like that, something really stupid, like basically trying to say like artists should be churning out music all the time, which again just isn't true. Like
it's a shame it's come to that though, isn't it? Like
yeah,
don't listen to full albums anymore. It's more just like singles, and like obviously people still do listen to albums, but it's like it's not as common.
Yeah, like I don't mind, but like just do it like the way you want to do it. Like if you want to do singles and maybe like a few EPs, let's do it. But if you should do that, but if you also feel like you really want to do like a full length album, or maybe have a specific concept for that album, do that as well. Like there's no one right way to kind of put your art out there, and it's annoying to have people trying to tell you that there is.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I feel like with albums especially, it just kind of gives you a wider understanding of like a musician's body of work. Because if you look at, for example, like a certain song, and then you put it into the context of all the other songs in that album, like I feel like you understand it a bit better. But like, I still listen to singles. Like, there's nothing wrong with just listening to singles or releasing singles.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but speaking of albums, are you working on a new album? And if not, why not?
Yeah, like pleased to say Big Joanie are working on a new album. So we'd I think it was last summer, we did an artist residency up at the Sage in Gateshead. So we were like I think over 2 weeks maybe they had like 20 artists in, and so we had like a rehearsal room to ourselves to kind of literally just focus on making music. And we came out of there with like 6 or 7 demos in the end. So yeah, we'd started introducing some new songs into our live set like just before lockdown, really, like at the end of last year and the start of this year. And so yeah, we're still working on kind of finishing off the album now. We've only just been able to go back into a studio and rehearse together like safely and try and keep everything distance and stuff like that, and obviously like we're all like masked up and everything, so it's quite a different situation rehearsal wise now. So yeah, we had a couple months in between where we couldn't really do much together, but now yeah, we're back to work and putting the finishing touches, and hopefully that will be out next year. Yeah, we get it all recorded.
2021 is going to be a good year.
Yeah, better get move on, to be honest.
Yeah,
meet that deadline.
Yeah. What are your favourite songs on Witching Waves' Persistence album and Big Joanie's Sisters?
Yeah, so like I recorded Persistence with Witching Waves. I think we recorded it last year. I remember we spent quite a long time.
2019.
Yeah. Who could say? But yeah, we recorded that in Hackney at Mark, one of the singers and the guitarist in Witching Waves. It was his studio. So yeah, he did all the recording and stuff. So yeah, it felt like a very like in-house kind of record. I think my favourite track is Shipping Container, just because I think it's maybe like our most ambitious song on the album, and I really like playing it live. So yeah, I'd say that's definitely my favourite, and I quite like the kind of monotone like delivery from like Mark and Emma in that one and stuff. So yeah, I think so. But obviously, like, I don't know, now I'm thinking about it, Eye to Eye is also good as well, so maybe they're like a joint favourite. And then on Sisters, I feel like it changes every time I get asked, but I still quite like Eyes, just because it's kind of again, I think the most dramatic kind of OTT song on that album. It's got like, everyone is always like, is that a recorder in there? And we're like,
wait, is it a recorder in there?
Well, I can't, it's some sort of like piped instrument. Producer Margot says it's not a recorder, it's something else specific, but I want to say it's recorder adjacent. So yeah, so we get a lot of comments about it. Yeah, get a lot of comments about the weird recorder in there, but it makes sense. Like, it would be the same song without it. And then I love how it just has like a completely different ending. So yeah, that's always my favourite, and we haven't played it live as much in the past like couple of months, so maybe we should bring it back. I'll ask you doing that. It's a long song.
Bring it back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was listening to Token this morning, and I think that's just such a relatable song. Especially, I don't think you realise like how relatable that is for women of colour and people of colour up north, because like, it's not multicultural as like compared to London.
Yeah, I used to live in York for a long time, so I can relate.
So, yeah, I was just listening to that this morning, and I was just like, this is so fitting to my life. So you mentioned that you are in a new band as well called Charn Pit, so that's CHARN Pit, for anyone listening.
M Pit, so yeah, Charm Pit. Yeah. Like a charming armpit.
Yeah. And what are your plans with that band then? So are you going on tour soon? What's happening?
Yeah, so Charm Pit are another band who started at Firsttimers, which is actually how Big Joanie started as well. So Charm Pit, I think, played Firsttimers in 2016, and I wasn't in the band then. I was actually volunteering at the event and learning how to do like sounds engineering and like run the stage and stuff. So that's how I'd met them, and I was just like, oh, like here's this cool band. It's like these two Californian girls. They're so like joyful, and their songs are so playful and fun. And so yeah, I've been seeing them loads, kind of in my scene anyway. And then eventually they needed a lead guitarist, and I really wanted to be like in the band basically, because I think they'd asked me if I knew anyone who'd want to play guitar, and I was like, excuse me. So yeah, then I joined the band. And so yeah, we recorded our first album again like last summer, And we had actually planned a big tour for it, which got cancelled completely thanks to Corona, because the album came out at the start of April this year. And yeah, we were going to do a big like UK tour, and we were due to go on tour with Diet Sig as well, like supporting them, the American punk band. And so there's been some dates rescheduled for Diet Sig. I'm not sure what the performing outlook looks like at the moment. I think those dates are rescheduled for the end of November. So we'll see if that's still something that can go ahead. Yeah, in the UK. But yeah, we're going to keep an eye out and see if that's feasible. And if not, I presume those dates might get moved again. But yeah, we're definitely, as soon as we can, we want to tour our debut album. It's called Cause a Stir. And we've got a few videos out and stuff that are quite fun, so you should check those out.
Okay, definitely. So do you have like a Vivo now? Are you on YouTube? Like
yeah, Trumpet and Big Joanie are on YouTube.
Okay, cool, that's great. I think that's all my questions. Oh, one more. With Decolonise Fest, are you looking for volunteers? Can people reach out and try and do some volunteer work with organising and whatnot?
Yeah, definitely. So organising team is all people of colour, and obviously anyone is welcome to attend the festival, but it's just really important to us that it is like a fully POC organising team. And if anyone wants to get involved, they can definitely reach out to us either on our social media, which is mostly, I think, at Decolonise Fest on all the platforms, or they can email us again, and I think it's, let me get this email address right. I think it might be info@decolonisefest.org. But we also have a website as well, so you can check that and make sure that I've actually given the correct details, because we only recently got a website that wasn't Tumblr. But yeah, like, we're always happy to have volunteers. I mean, obviously we're still all distance at the moment, but there's loads that you can do remotely, and lots of exciting stuff we want to have coming up. I know we're planning some online activities for September as well, and we're constantly thinking about how to like stay engaged with our like POC punk community whilst we can't be physically together. So it's always really great to hear from people as well. And we also do a zine every year that we always welcome submissions for. So yeah, just like hit us up if you're in a band, send us your links, whatever. Like, yeah, any way you want to get involved, we're always really happy to hear from people.
That's great. Yeah, that's so helpful. Definitely. I think there's a lot of people listening to this, well, who will be listening to this, and I think they'll definitely want to get involved. Like, who wouldn't want to work with like Big Joanie members? Like, I think that'd be great for quite a lot of young people to hear. So thank you for sharing that.
Oh, thanks.
I think that's the end of our interview. I'll let you get going, but thank you again for your time and your really interesting answers. So I feel like I know you a lot better now. So thank you, and I hope to speak to you soon as well.
Yeah, it'd be really nice to be able to, you know, look to a future when we can see each other in person at a show or something.
Definitely. I'll see you at Decolonise Fest.
Yes, definitely come to Decolonise. I did want to mention as well, like, a lot of people come, even if they haven't met people, they don't know anyone there, they come by themselves, but by the end of the weekend, you'll definitely have made friends and like had a great time. So don't be afraid to come, even if you're not from London and you're coming solo, because a lot of people do that.
Okay, that's my plan then. Okay,
again, 2021. I'll see you there.
Bye.
Thanks so much. Bye.